A couple of miscellaneous points. We need to demonstrate again how to zip the project and submit it in Blackboard, and then how to read what you see in Blackboard. If you recall, we would find our project in Visual Studio 2010 if we let it put it where it wants to. Then we would find it under the projects file, and then we could have date modified sorted or selected so that the most recent item would be on top. Skipping the zipped folders, there's hotel room selection. Notice that the date is still 12/20, 2:39 p.m. That seems to be semi-permanently at this level with the folder. We zip it by doing a right mouse button, send it to a compressed or zipped folder, it ends up down at the bottom of the list in Windows XP. Okay, we would then submit this in Blackboard. Okay, Zwyla's already logged in. She picks up her new course. This probably does not look the way your current course does because we're not done building it yet, but it's close. So it's under Programming Chapters 1 through 3. Near the bottom, Chapter 2. Please do read the instructions. I am appalled every semester at how many students submit the item in the wrong one, or it says do this and they do something entirely different. Please. Now we're going to have to go look for it under My Documents, Visual Studio 2010, Projects, and I'm going to show the details. Click on Date Modified twice, and sure enough, there's my zipped folder at the top of the pile. I submit it. No comments are necessary unless there's a question you have about something. And then it's ready to go. Now we can click on My Grades. There are a couple of different ways to verify that this thing actually made it to the instructor. But if you go to My Grades and you see the green background white exclamation point, that means something was submitted. I would also like to point out the third column here is the due date, and we will be putting out due dates for major assignments. The assumption is that you will look at the differences in the dates and say, I have 12 days to get this done, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 things. That means 3 days per each, but that one's big, so maybe I need to allow just a couple days for the first ones, etc. To complicate matters, you will be working on your Excel at the same time, and you can see that there are several assignments of it due on January 25th. Don't let this scare you away. These are 10-minute assignments, many of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 assignments due by February 25th. You go, wow, this was a lot of work for this assignment. It's only worth 1 point. Well, the reason is the failure rate is extremely high on these 1-point assignments. So to make it less fearful for you, I've made them worth less, but not worthless, so that you can feel free to make mistakes and learn, and when you get to the larger point assignments, do them more easily. It should be fun to do the bigger assignments. Okay, Now, if Zweila really wants to know if the teacher got it, she can click on that exclamation point thingy, and she can save her target to a different spot. And then can unzip it. Can drill down through those folders. And see, yes, this is what I wanted the instructor to see. And I alluded to earlier that there was perhaps a problem, a mistake, and it happens to be the choose a room type line. It's not really centered. And so in the comments we would say, hey, take a look at that, I don't think it's quite centered. Then for the next one you'd fix it. Okay, you go, but how do you know without looking whether or not we actually fixed all of the labels? Well, what I can do is take form1.designer.vb, copy it, rename it to a txt file, and then I can just look at it. And hey, look at down here. I can see all of the objects that you added to your form. I can tell that Zweila typed the names correctly. I'm a little curious about this label 1. We'll see what it is, because then each one is explained in further detail. Remember, our main heading was Tahoma 16 point. Well, for whatever reason, they always go 15.75. Whatever. It's always 0.25 less than on some of them. I don't know if that has to do something with bold, but it'd be interesting to look at this and figure it out. Here's the spelling of it. I can look and see if there's anything spelled wrong. Down at the bottom, I see that label 1 is the byline. Okay, and that's okay not to rename it. So those are the two items we check very quickly just to make sure you're on the right track, that you've created a form correctly, and that you have named it correctly, zipped it correctly, submitted it. We want to find out if you have any problems with this very early on. Okay, finally, Zweila needs to get her project out to her thumb drive or her portable hard drive. If you are doing all of your work off of your own home computer, you don't need this step, but if you're working at UNO or in a lab somewhere, you do. Now, I would say don't bother saving your zipped folder somewhere else. You've got it. Submit it in Blackboard. If you ever need it, you can go get it from there. But what you should do is put your folder that contains the whole project on your thumb drive. So I'm going to go open that. Get a little side by side here. I still haven't figured out how in Windows 7, when you have two windows and you hold them at once, you can do something that pops them to fit perfectly. One of these days. Okay, I have CIST 1100 assignments over here, and I have my hotel room selection over here, and I'm going to drag it to my thumb drive, and it's going to copy it. Yes, it will take 20 seconds, or close. Once I have that, I can close everything, eject it correctly, and then I'm ready to go for the next phase of the assignment. Bye.